Went to Nadipur. There is a Gram Vidyapith. At one time there were about 24 such institutions in Gujarat. Now there are about 10 to 12 left, which practice what 11 referred to, which is Bunyadi Talim, and learning from experience. So one girl asked me a question. I said, please ask me a question of which I don't have the answer. So one girl was really smart. She said, okay, we have two things, a lump of sugar, a lump of jaggery. The jaggery attracts the big ant. The sugar attracts the small ant. Why? And I can tell you that question was on the edge of science, because she didn't know what chemicals are contained in both. She didn't know what kind of ability that different kinds of ants have to smell them or to trace their signatures of the chemicals. But this is the way I presume education could have been, should really be, where teachers reward students for asking questions that they don't have answers. In my class, only those students can get a grade in IMA who teach me something new, something that I didn't know. Otherwise, why should I give grades to somebody who has told me what I already knew? And I think pushing the children, pushing the younger generation, pushing all of us to ask questions for which we may not have easy answers is what the real purpose of education is. And I agree with all the other speakers who have reinforced this. But what kind of education? And how would it help in SDGs? The education that will remind us of 2 or 3 historic instances in our developmental history, which might be useful to other countries. Shri K. Munshi, who was a novelist, a great writer, our Minister of Food and Agriculture, gave a series of lectures in 1952. And these lectures were titled, when they were put together, one of the lectures was, of course, this was the title, Gospel of Dirty Hand. The Gospel of Dirty Hand. And what did he say? What did he imply? He implied that, and he referred to his own family and his own, look at the paradoxical way of teaching. He said, look, only time my granddaughter soils her hand is with the ink of the fountain pen. Because there were servants at home. And they did everything else. He was worried. At that time, in India, there was a new word which had come in our polity called as extension. He said extension means enlargement. How prophetic. He had predicted how the extension system will take over, you know. He said extension means enlargement. We need to think of Bhu Parivartan, land transformation. The first unit of land army, many of you may not know, was created in 1952. What did it do? It comprised the students of Delhi University, and they were asked to go to Chhatarpur, which is a village within Delhi boundary, to clean the drain, Chhatarpur drain. He realized that when water clogs, when drain clogs, the only people in front of whose house the water will spill over, the wastewater will spill over are the poor people. So if you don't clean the drain, you are really telling poor people this is where you belong. That is education. That also is education. So he said, no, we don't want that. If we want to transform our society, if we want to move our society on a sustainability path, sustainability was not a popular word at that time. So these thinkers are ahead of the time by the time that world has caught up with these concepts. In 1938, there was a lecture given by John Griffith. These lectures are put together in a book called A Human Situation. And I was reflecting on that when I listened to Lavan and Mohan and others. There is an instance that the author describes. Angels from the heaven are looking at the children on the ground. And there's a girl that they like very much, who is playful, who is talkative, who is naughty. So they come and talk to her and say, look, little kid, God is very pleased with you. Now don't misinterpret the next sentence. God is very pleased with you. He wants to play with you. Will you come to the heaven? She thought for a minute and then said, I don't mind coming to the heaven provided I have devil to play with. That is playfulness. What's the point in playing with God? He follows all the rules. Everything will have to be done as per the rules. Children, you know, they change the rules as they play. What I'm trying to say is there's a playfulness. There's a playfulness which should characterize education, which actually does characterize education. You ask any good teacher, you ask any place where education is effective, playfulness is an essential part of that process, no matter at what level do we teach. How do we bring it back? How do we bring it back? How do we reinforce it where it is happening? How do we introduce it where it is not happening? Let me mention few ways in which this can happen. There is a beautiful word in Sanskrit, Gujarati and many Indian languages with slight change in intonation, samvedana. Sam means equal, Vedana means pain. When I experience somebody else's pain as intensely as that person feels it, it doesn't remain that person's pain, it becomes my pain. When Sajanshilta, creativity, innovation are born out of samvedana, they become empathetic innovation. Innovation which solve problems of somebody who is suffering from the problem. So one little girl, Shalini in Bihar, Patna, looked at her father, her grandfather, who was using a walker. Now, my wife, Sadhana, also uses walker sometimes because she has a problem in balancing. But this idea did not occur to me. And I want to make it very clear that despite all the knowledge, all the expertise, all the proficiency, all the social and ethical capital that one may command, one can goof up. So what she saw, and she said, my grandfather can't use this walker on the staircase. The front legs should be adjustable. That's all she wrote on a piece of paper. My friends in Honeybee Network, Sashi, and National Innovation Foundation got it fabricated. It was licensed to a company and she got few lakh rupees as license fee. She became one of the youngest entrepreneurs. Now this education, which empowered her to share her idea about a pain that she was experiencing by looking at her grandfather, whose problem was not solved by the solution that was available. And mind you, this is a universal technology. Even in US and Europe, you don't have walkers which have adjustable legs. So she has not solved Indian problem. She has not solved the problem of Bihar. She has solved the problem of the world. This is the power that children have. And I'm very proud to say that one of the most optimistic things one can say about future is children are far less patient with the problem than my generation has been. You know, we were very expert in explaining why things don't work. How can you do this? There are policy constraints, there are bureaucracies. You know, we have abused the bureaucrats, unlimited life. For all problems, you can find problems with the inertia of the bureaucracy. But children, unfortunately, are not in the blame game. They want problems to be solved here and now. So let me conclude by giving few examples by which we could really engage our society and society all around the world to make SDGs a reality. 20 million people travel by train every day. 20 million people, at least 20 million people travel by train every day. And we don't converse with them at all. We don't tell them, for instance, that if you cut the vegetables after washing, you get more nutrition. But if you wash them after cutting, you get less nutrition. So for the same amount that you're spending on vegetable, 2 rupees, 3 rupees, whatever poor person can afford, you get less nutrition because free amino acids have been washed away, vitamins have been washed away if you wash after cutting. Simple message. If you cook food in an iron vessel, as we used to do earlier, or put a little bit of, whatever word that is, English word, I don't know, put little butter oil in the ghee, in the dal with a iron ladle, iron vessel, you get enough iron. All the midday meal scheme vessels are aluminium in Delhi. None use iron. 60% women of our country are suffering from anemia. That means not just the poor. Even the non-poor and well-off women also suffer from anemia. But we will not use iron vessel. We will not talk about iron vessel. In Cambodia, a student made a fish of cast iron with a little bit of zinc, a little bit of other minerals, and told people to put it in the curry when they cook food. They got iron. We had the practice of using iron kadai and other iron vessels. We just stopped it. So the innovation is not just about how to bring new ideas. Innovation is also about how to continue ideas that work. We need innovations of both kinds. And innovation that can sustain our society and brings some Vedana, Sahajta, Saralta, Santosh and Swaraj, and some kind of santulan between the different parts of our society. I would not say one word more except tell a small story of a girl, Chaya Thakur, from a village near Amrapur in Mehsana, Gandhinagar district. We had a contest for ideas in Gandhinagar district and Sabarkantha district. 1,000 schools, 5,000 ideas. One child saw that in a primary school, the drinking water tap is at constant height, straight, flat. Those children who are small can't reach the tap. They've all seen it. I had seen it. It never occurred to me that there's a problem with the design. She said, why can't you tilt the pipe? Small kids will drink, the taller will drink, the taller will also be able to drink. Problem will get solved. I invited her as a visiting faculty to my institute because she had looked at the problem, she had analyzed it, she had assimilated it, she had abstracted it, and she got it applied in the community. She got that tap installed. So what I'm saying is there's a great deal that we can learn from children if only we pay attention to what they say, what they are talking about, and at all generation young people have a lot to say. I'm sure we can transform the society and achieve the SDGs. Thank you so much.